Well, we are back. It's Wednesday, January 25th for our sports betting breakdown of the day. We're just gonna go over some picks. Jacob, I don't know how much stuff you have. I actually have a few picks already early in the afternoon. Usually I don't have too many at this point, but I have some right now. Uh, Anything opening words from you before we get into it?
Um, Kind of wish I knew Jimmy Butler wasn't playing yesterday. I would have hammered Bam Adebayo.
Yeah,
I mean, got the under,
I
got
didn't know
the
either.
the 1.5. Yeah, it was game time decision. So
Still
uh,
covered, and they covered still.
right. And
They still
the
covered that
the
2 point spread.
so I ended up going, if you all are in the VIP, I ended up going with the under at a half a unit, over 10.5 at a 1.5 unit play, and then over 12. So that was
Yeah.
2 unit play with a lot of return on investment with that. So definitely a good day yesterday. 5-1 on my end. Not sure. 5-2 on my end.
I
So
wasn't great yesterday. I was the Lakers kind of sold in the late night. Um they were LeBron had 46 or something like that and they still lost by 20.
yeah, also I'm so
So I
mad
thought that
because
was pretty crazy.
I completely spaced it. I didn't have it on my notes. So if I don't have it on my notes, I don't really have. But this is the last game I read, and I knew that this was the last team he had against 40. So I knew he was going to put up 30 shots. So
Yeah.
I mean, he says he's not about accolades, but he's totally at this age in his career, he's definitely trying to get as many accolades as he can. So
100%.
being the first
100%.
person to score 40 points against every team in the NBA is insane. Probably never happen again. So
Yeah.
um but yeah, so there's that was a miss on my part, but uh we're back to the drawing board.
Let's do it. All right, let's get started. I'm going to start off with college basketball today. I think
Okay.
those are the plays I'm going to start with. And see, I'm sharing my screen. The first play I'm going to start with, I'm going to go with the Xavier versus UConn game. See the lines at plus 6.5. Xavier are 6.5 point underdogs. The total is at 153.5. And the pick I have for this game is Xavier plus 6.5 as an underdog. Xavier is a 13th ranked team. If you look at situationally, they're 11, 8-1 against spread, 6-4 in their last 10, and 3, 1-1 as an underdog. So they're very good at covering as an underdog. But UConn is pretty good at covering as a favorite, sitting at 12-8, but has been a bad covering team for some reason in the past 10 games. They've also haven't been great in the past 10 games. They've dropped a couple of them since starting out. What they were like 11-0.
Yeah, they were
Um,
dominant.
so haven't been as great recently. Yeah, both teams, the women's team and the men's team, were both uh, um, undefeated. But now we're getting up some of the stats here. You see the stat leaders, and then we go over here. You have the defensive rankings. I mean, two not really great defending
So
teams. That's why
the
the
over?
total is pretty high. I'm taking the underdog. I'm taking Xavier.
Okay,
The over would be a good idea, but the books probably have adjusted. It's a pretty high total at 153.5 for a
oh yeah,
college game.
definitely.
Uh, and that honestly is why you see you don't even have to know how many teams are in the D1. But you could just see all the glaring red marks on their defensive statistics. They're really not good at limiting points. Neither of these teams not good at limiting field goal percentage, 3 point percentage. They're not really good at anything defensively, either of these teams. So really the offense is where the work is going to be done. This one is at UConn, by the way. But Xavier has been very good, ranking ninth in points and ranking sixth in the last couple of games. UConn has also been pretty good, ranking 34th in points. They also, both teams, UConn ranks 26th in rebounds, while Xavier ranks 30th. And Xavier has a big advantage on the free throws, ranking seventh in field goal percentage. They're ranked seventh in field goal percentage, while UConn only ranks 108th.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
they're really not Xavier's weakness defensive rebounding, as you see 349th, but UConn can't really do that well either. They are a very good offensive rebounding team, which could be an issue presented for Xavier. But to me, UConn, I haven't been impressed with the recent games. I'm surprised the books are giving Xavier 6.5. To me, that seems like a decent amount of points. Uh, Road dog, I kind of like the situation for Xavier. So I'm going to take them plus 6.5 in this game. That's an official pick. I will post these in the chat, the sports picks section a little later too.
Um,
Got anything on this game or no?
For this game, not really. I mean, I had IU. I think IU covered the spread. That's kind of when they were bad against UConn. UConn's definitely not
Yeah.
it's the top tier team at home like they once were.
No.
But
No.
yeah, for this, with it being 153, it feels like the mid to high 140s, sure. But that's pretty high. So for now, I don't have too many college picks for today, actually.
Yeah. I have, but moving on, I still have a couple. You can chime in on these games. Or go to the Houston UCF game. Houston's getting 9.5 points on the road against UCF. Total's lower at 128.5. Houston's known for the defense, obviously. And in this one, I honestly like the favorite Houston in their head-to-head matchups on New Year's. Houston only won this game by 6 points, which is a little bit concerning if you're looking at that. But against the spread, Houston is 6-0 on the road. They have been very good on the road. And that's usually because defenses travel better than offenses do. I think Houston's defense will be very good in this game against UCF. If we go and we check the defensive rankings, UCF is also a great defensive team. But Houston is just elite. I mean, they're first in limiting points in D1 college basketball. They're sixth in rebounding. They're first in limiting field goal percentage, second in limiting 2-point percentage, third in limiting 3-point percentage, and they're sixth at assist to turnover ratio. UCF is not a slack on defense either, but they do not even compare to the defense Houston brings. And especially on the road, Houston's defense has been even more elevated. Um, Offensively for both teams, I mean, Houston hasn't been amazing offensively, but still a pretty decent team. They're a very good rebounding team, Houston is, and especially on the offensive glass, ranking fifth. And on the defensive glass, UCF ranks 120th, just slightly above average. Houston is 108th in points, so still a little better than UCF, and 13th in rebounds. I think Houston, they dropped a couple games. They were the number one ranked team for a little while. But to me, this is a game where they go on the road, their defense stiffens up, and I think they beat UCF and cover 9.5.
That's one of the plays that I have, and I had lean in UCF on that.
Ooh,
So of course it's got to be a game time decision.
yeah.
Um, you, yeah, I don't know. UCF they play well at home. They I had it up, so the really don't keep games close. So if Houston is going to win, they're gonna
They're
win
going to
by
win
like
by a lot.
15. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I just Houston hasn't been playing their best ball as of late. So,
I
um,
remember what happened to last head to head, though, Jacob. Remember what happened to
I
the
do
last head to
remember
head?
that, and I also remember
Yeah.
the last time I faded UCF and I got walloped.
Yeah.
I
That's
think I thought I faded them and they ended up winning by like 13 or something, and it was not a good cover.
wow.
But
Yeah.
so yeah, so right now I'm leaning. That was a lean on me. I didn't have an official pick out as that, but also the under because again, Houston's coming from Texas, going to Florida, so
Mhm.
um, slight change in time. But yeah, for that, I don't have a lean on UCF. Possible under. I have to look at the money and where it comes in at.
All right. Moving on. In this game, we have a 9 o'clock game with the number two ranked team, Alabama. It seems like they can do it all: basketball, football, great sports
Right.
program. But in this game, we got Mississippi State as 12.5 point underdogs. And I'm going to roll with the dog here in Mississippi State. To me, I mean, if we look at the spread, you guys are going to see in Mississippi State isn't really great situationally. In their last 10, especially, they've been 2-8. 2-4 on the road, 1-3 as an underdog. And Alabama has definitely been much better at covering spreads, but they actually have been pretty bad at covering big spreads. I think they actually rank once the spread's above like 13.5 against comparable teams, they're like 2-6, or they're not great at all with these big spreads. So we go to statistics here. Offensively, you look and you see Alabama is much better. Obviously, they're the second best rebounding team in the nation. They rank 10th in points, 14th in offensive rebounds, and comparing to Mississippi State, who ranks 29th in rebounds and third in offensive rebounds. That's an important statistic. Third in offensive rebounds, if they can get some extra
Right.
opportunities against a team like Alabama that ranks 363rd in defensive rebounds, then I think this is a game they can easily keep close and keep within a 12.5 point spread on the road. Uh, I don't know how much Alabama's going to bring this game. They're still the number 2 ranked team. What were they? What were they like a week ago?
Bama was top. They took over. So it's basically been Bama, Purdue, and
Houston,
Houston.
and then
So
Kansas was lingering for a little bit.
yeah,
Um, but going and then yeah, and then going to the defense of side. I mean, the Alabama defense is really bad. I mean, you could say the same thing about Mississippi State, although I would say it's a little bit better. 300, not a great rebounding team that Bama is. Very bad at rebounding, and especially bad on the offensive glass. Field goal percentage, they're not great at limiting. 2 point percentage, 3 point percentage, they're about average in most of those categories. Kind of same thing with Mississippi State. Two bad defenses. To me, the big discrepancy comes on the offensive rebounding end. I think if Mississippi State can get offensive boards and get some extra points in, I think they can cover a 12.5 point spread. Definitely don't think they win this game. But I think it's going to be a little more, it's going to be a little closer, and maybe they even give Alabama a little bit of a scare. I got Mississippi State plus 12.5.
nothing on
That's
this
Mississippi
game.
State, right?
Yeah.
Nothing on this game. Fair enough. I think that is all I
Go
had for
to.
college. I'm just checking my notes.
So I talked about Louisville yesterday. Still on it. They are, I think, Boston College is 9.5 point favorites.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go. So I actually
Yeah, I
have
did.
two games on this. I like the under. So if you want to
Mm-hmm.
go to their defensive or their offensive, I mean, both teams are pretty bad often.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, they're both really bad offense. 9.5, right? Is that what the spread was? 9.5.
9.5. Yeah. Nine and
So
a half in favor
we,
of
we
Boston
looked
College.
yesterday. We looked yesterday and saw how Louisville has been covering. Well, just because they're so bad, Vegas has obviously changed that. This should not be a 9.5 spread. Louisville, Boston College, Louisville should be like a 3 or 4 point underdog, possibly.
Yeah.
So that spread's really high. But the under 132, that right there is, again, it's a strong lean for me. I don't like putting any over unders until I really see
Play.
I see the play. I see where the money's coming in. So the under one,
Jacob, hold on. I think you cut out for a minute. We didn't hear your last like 30 seconds or 20 seconds.
yeah,
Cut out for
sorry.
a bit.
Somebody gave me a call. So if I get called,
Yeah.
then it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
If someone calls me, then it just stops my internet. So yeah,
Yeah.
strong lean under 132.5.
Perfect. All right. Sounds good.
And then
I have one more.
mine's
Oh,
IU.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Go to Indiana, Minnesota. This is going to be an old Big Ten beatdown. The fact that this is the same spread as that last game that we saw is
Yeah.
a disservice to Indiana. Trace Jackson Davis, I said last week, or I think on our first picks, National Player of the Year candidate. He
Mm.
dropped 32 points. I Minnesota just lost by 19 to an Illinois team that Indiana beat by 20. So 2 units on Indiana minus 9.5, and then I'm going to put a half a unit on them minus 15, and another half a unit on minus 20. I think this is going to be. It is at Minnesota, so traveling in the Big Ten is difficult. But I mean, at minus 20, you put a half a unit, you might be risking what, maybe 0.06 unit for
Jacob, I
that.
think cutting out a little bit.
Oh,
Uh,
dang it.
Unfortunately, I do not have hosting permissions. I can mute him.
I'll make you. All right, are we good? You good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were cutting out for a while, like for 30 seconds. You were just cutting out.
All right. So real quick, I think Indiana wins by at least 15. So I'm putting unit and a half on Indiana minus 9.5, a half a unit on minus 15, and a half a unit on minus 20. Still nothing.
All right. Well, we heard that. We heard the picks at least, even though you were buffering a bit. No, we heard the pick.
All
We
right.
heard the pick, for sure. So that's fine. And then I just have a quick lean to go to. And this is in the Butler versus Providence game. Providence is at home. And I'm gonna lean towards Providence minus 10.5. Butler has not been great. 2-7-1 in their last 10, 2-5, and 1-9 underdog against the spread. And Providence has been very great against the spread. I think usually undervalued. 8-2 in their last 10. If we go look at the defensive rankings, Providence isn't a great defensive team, but nor is Butler. Both teams give up points. Both teams give up field goal percentage. And definitely each team is not great at defending the other. But if we go to the offensive rankings, here's where we start to see some better numbers. Butler still has a ton of weaknesses in terms of rebounding, in terms of 2-point percentage. They can shoot free throws well and are slightly above average in the three. But Providence is very good at scoring the basketball, especially good at rebounding and offensive rebounding, which Butler is not good at all at. So I like Providence getting some offensive extra possessions. As I just explained in the Mississippi State game, to me, offensive rebounds is huge in college basketball. I would say it's much bigger than in the NBA. Teams don't score as much, and extra shots are definitely important. So especially extra quick shots, usually it's offensive rebound. You put it up, get a quick layup, or get a quick foul. So Providence 10.5. I do like the way Butler is playing. I think they leave too many points on the board. Give me Providence to lead. So I'll make a decision game time, but Providence minus 10.5 is my lean at home. That's it for college basketball for me.
Awesome. Yep. Same here.
I think Jacob's lagging a bit. So I'm gonna go to the NBA for my next couple of picks. Um Jacob, I want to start anything out? I'm gonna look through my list, see what I can get here.
Um, Pacers surprised
Yes.
me yesterday, Chicago. Um, without Halliburton, they're
Mhm.
not playing well, but TJ McConnell is doing really well. Mathurin did had a good game yesterday. Not sure what the player props are, but I both rookie of the year candidates are playing. I think they're gonna have a show. So if you want to open up the Indiana Orlando game, so the very top.
Mhm.
Um, so open. What are the player props for Mathurin and oh
Jake, guys,
Orlando's rookie?
still lagging a little bit. You're cutting in and out. Here they are. Hold on. Give me 1 minute.
So yeah, I don't know what they are. I'll have to look, but I'm forgetting the Orlando's rookie's name right
I'm
now.
gonna resume in one
Banchero.
second. I apologize. Jacob's having some issues. He's outside of the United States, so he's all the way in Ghana. So maybe some connection issues down there. But